My friends, there comes a time in every life when the night seems darker than it's ever been. You've cried until there are no more tears. You've prayed until your voice is hoarse. You've questioned, wrestled, and waited. Pain can break a man. It can bring the strongest soul to its knees. But I want to tell you something today. When God is about to turn your pain into a blessing, there are signs. There are moments, little glimpses, that whisper to your spirit, hold on, don't give up. Your breakthrough is closer than it's ever been. You see, pain is never wasted in the hands of the Almighty. It may feel like a burden too heavy to carry, but in God's plan, pain often comes right before promotion. The enemy wants you to believe that your suffering means you've been abandoned, that your tears are falling into an empty sky. But the truth is, some of the greatest blessings begin in the darkest valleys. Before God raises you up, He allows you to be still, and when He's about to bless you beyond your imagination, the enemy will fight you like never before. That's a sign. When the warfare intensifies, when temptations increase, when fear begins to grip your heart like a vice, that is not the time to quit. That is the time to dig deeper, to get down on your knees and cry out with all your soul. Because right on the other side of that storm, the clouds are parting. Heaven is preparing something greater than your pain. You'll begin to feel it, even in your weakness. Your spirit will start to stir. You'll sense something shifting in the atmosphere, not because your circumstances have changed, but because you are being prepared. God never sends a blessing without first preparing the vessel to receive it. And pain, my friend, pain is the refining fire. When God is about to bring you into a season of favor, He'll often isolate you. People will walk away. Friends will go silent. The ones you thought would stand with you suddenly disappear. But listen to me. That's not rejection. That's redirection. God is clearing the room. He's removing the noise so you can hear His voice. He's taking you to a place where it's just you and Him. That sacred space is where strength is born. That's where purpose is revealed. That's where blessings begin to grow. Some of you are in a season of weeping. You've been misunderstood. You've been betrayed. You've been praying for answers, and all you've received is silence. But hear me now. Before resurrection, there must be a cross. Before the crown, there's always the crushing. God is not punishing you. He is positioning you. He is molding you into the person you were always meant to be. And you'll start to see the evidence. Doors that were shut for years will begin to creak open. Opportunities you thought were long gone will come back around. People you never met will be drawn to your life. You'll look back on the pain that almost destroyed you and realize it was the very thing that prepared you for the blessing. You'll feel a new peace, one that doesn't depend on what's happening around you. That's another sign. When the storm is still raging, but your soul is anchored, that's when you know the blessing is near. When your prayers turn from pleading to praising, even before the answer comes, that's when heaven is moving. God does not waste suffering. What the enemy meant for evil, God will turn for good. He'll use your pain as a platform. He'll use your scars as a testimony. He'll use your brokenness to bring healing to others. That's the kind of God we serve, a God who lifts the lowly, a God who sees the tears cried in secret and rewards them openly, a God who takes your midnight and turns it into a sunrise. So if you're in a place of pain today, don't despise it. Don't rush it. Let God do what only He can do, because just when you think it's over, just when the night feels the longest, that's often the moment when the blessing is closest. Heaven has heard you. Your tears have been counted, your prayers have been stored, and when the time is right, not a second too early, not a moment too late, God will release a blessing that will make sense of every trial. Stay faithful, stay humble, stay expectant, because when God is about to turn your pain into a blessing, the enemy will tremble, and your life will never be the same again. You may wonder why God allows the pressure to increase just before the blessing comes. Why does the fire feel hotter, the burden heavier, the silence louder? It's because what he's forming in you is not something small. It's not ordinary. He's preparing you for something that will shake nations, touch generations, change legacies. And the greater the blessing, the deeper the foundation must be. You cannot carry glory on shallow ground. You cannot handle greatness with an untested spirit. And so he stretches you. He strips away the pride, the self-reliance, the fear, until what's left is something pure, something eternal. You'll find yourself in places where nothing makes sense. The doors you prayed to open will remain closed. The friends you counted on will no longer answer the call. The plans you built with your own hands will crumble like dust. But that's when you learn God doesn't need your plans. He doesn't need your connections. He needs your surrender. He's not interested in building your kingdom. He's interested in building his kingdom through you. In that quiet space of surrender, something miraculous happens. Your prayers stop being about escape and start being about endurance. You stop asking for the pain to go away and begin asking for the strength to carry it well. And that, my friend, is when the enemy knows he's lost, because a believer who has learned to praise in the pain, who has learned to worship in the wilderness, is a threat to the gates of hell. Look around and see it for yourself. Before the rain came, Noah had to build the ark in dry land. Before the Red Sea parted, Moses had to stand still in front of it. Before the walls fell, Joshua had to march without seeing a single brick move. The breakthrough always comes after the obedience, the miracle comes after the faith, and faith, real faith, is not proven in comfort, it's proven in crisis. You'll know God is close when the pruning gets painful. When things are being removed, people are walking away, and you feel like you're losing everything. But in reality, you're being pruned for growth. Every branch that bears fruit is pruned so it can bear more. God cuts off what you don't need, not to hurt you, but to prepare you for a harvest you can't even imagine, and you'll feel a shift inside. The bitterness will start to leave. The resentment that once held you hostage will begin to melt away. Forgiveness will no longer feel impossible. Joy will begin to rise, not because your situation has changed, but because you've changed. That's how you know God is working. When peace starts to replace panic, when hope begins to silence despair, when your faith becomes stronger than your fear. And then come the divine connections. People you never expected will walk into your life. Conversations will happen that seem too perfect to be coincidence. Doors you never knocked on will swing wide open. This is the favor of God. It's not earned. It's not deserved. It's grace, pure, powerful grace. And when it flows, no man can stop it. No devil can block it. No circumstance can cancel it. You may be thinking, but I've lost too much. I've been through too much. And I want to tell you, God restores. He doesn't just give you back what you lost. He multiplies it. He redeems time. He renews strength. He revives dead dreams. He takes what the locusts have eaten and turns it into a feast. He takes the ashes and gives beauty. He takes the mourning and pours out joy, and you begin to see it, not just in material things, but in your spirit. Where there was confusion, now there is clarity. Where there was anxiety, now there is assurance. You start to walk differently. You talk differently, not because of pride, but because you've seen what God can do in the fire. You've seen how he walks with you in the furnace. You've seen how he whispers in the storm. People may ask you how you survived, and you'll point to the one who carried you. You'll have a testimony, not of how easy life was, but of how faithful God was in the middle of the trial. That's the blessing. It's not always a house, a job, a title. The real blessing is knowing him more deeply, trusting him more fully, and reflecting him more clearly. There will be times when the enemy whispers, "You're forgotten," but don't believe that lie. God never forgets his children. He knows your name. He knows your pain. He sees every sleepless night, every tear-soaked pillow, and he promises, those who sow in tears shall reap in joy. It's not a maybe. It's a promise. A harvest is coming. Your obedience will not return void. Your sacrifice has not gone unnoticed. In fact, some of you are in the final stage before the breakthrough. It's the stage where it feels the hardest, the most painful, the most confusing. That's how you know you're close. The enemy is throwing everything he can at you because he knows what's coming. He knows that if you hold on, if you refuse to quit, if you stand your ground in faith, the blessing will break through, and it will be bigger than you ever imagined. And when it comes, it won't just bless you. It will bless others through you. That's God's way. He blesses his children not to hoard, but to pour out. He raises you up so others can be lifted. He anoints you so you can serve. He fills you so you can overflow. The pain you endured wasn't just for you. It was so you could minister to someone else walking through the fire. That's why your story matters. Your scars have purpose. Your wounds carry wisdom. Your survival is someone else's roadmap. Don't hide what you've been through. Testify. Share it. Let the world see what God can do with a surrendered life. You may feel ordinary, but God uses ordinary people to accomplish extraordinary things. And don't be surprised when he begins to accelerate things. What took others years will happen for you in months. What was delayed will be delivered. What was denied will be restored. That's the God we serve, a God of suddenlies. A God who turns mourning into dancing in a moment. A God who brings rivers out of deserts and makes a way where there is no way. So lift your head, wipe your tears, stand firm. You are not forgotten. You are not abandoned. You are chosen. You are loved. And you are on the brink of something greater than you've ever seen. The pain was real, yes, but the blessing will be greater. The fire was hot, but the anointing that comes from it will be pure. The valley was deep, but the mountain is high, and you are about to climb it, step by step, with the strength of heaven behind you. Let the enemy rage, let the winds howl, let the world doubt, but as for you, you will see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. You will rise, you will overcome, you will walk in victory, because when God decides to bless you, no power in hell can stop it. No opposition can block it. No failure can cancel it. It's coming, the shift. The breakthrough, the reward, the manifestation of every tear, every prayer, every late night of weeping, and it will all make sense. You'll look back and say, if it hadn't been for the pain, I would have missed the blessing. If it hadn't been for the crushing, I would have missed the oil. If it hadn't been for the loss, I wouldn't have known the depth of his love. So don't lose heart. You're not at the end, you're at the edge, and heaven is about to pour out more than you asked, more than you imagined, more than you dreamed. Just hold on, keep pressing, keep praying, keep believing. Because when God is about to turn your pain into a blessing, the heavens will shake, the earth will respond, and your life will never be the same again. And if you're still waiting, still holding on by a thread, still wondering when your moment will come, let me remind you, delay is not denial. God has a divine timetable, and he is never early, never late. When the appointed time comes, no force in heaven or earth can stop what he has ordained, and sometimes the waiting is the blessing, because it's in the waiting that your faith is forged. It's in the waiting that your roots grow deep, so that when the winds of life blow, you will not be moved. It's in the waiting that you learn to trust God for who he is, not just for what he gives. There is a sacred work happening in you, even when nothing seems to be happening around you. Seeds are sprouting underground before they ever break through the soil. And just because you can't see the fruit, yet doesn't mean it's not growing. God has not forgotten the promises he made you. He's not ignoring your prayers. He's preparing you for the very thing you asked for, and sometimes he waits until the last moment to show up, not to hurt you, but to show you his power, so that when it happens, no one gets the glory but him. You may find yourself tested on every side. tested in your finances, tested in your relationships, tested in your mind, that is not because God is against you. It's because He's proving you. Gold is tested by fire, and your faith is of greater worth than gold. Don't mistake pressure for punishment. The crushing you feel is not the end, it's the preparation, because the oil only flows when the olive is pressed. The wine only flows when the grape is crushed, and the anointing on your life is being extracted in this season of pain. And just when you least expect it, God will step in. He will speak peace to the storm, and the winds will cease. He will open doors no man can shut. He will answer prayers you forgot you prayed. He will bring healing where doctors said there was no cure. He will send provision from sources you never imagined. He will do it, not because you earned it, but because He is good, because He is faithful, because He honors His word, and when He does, your pain will suddenly make sense. Every night you cried, every moment you felt abandoned, every trial that seemed to crush you, you'll look back and see that God was there all along, working behind the scenes, orchestrating the details, preparing the blessing. The pain was the path, the tears were the trail, the wilderness was the way, and through it all, He was shaping you into someone who could carry what He is about to release. There will be a moment when everything shifts. You will wake up and feel the weight lift. You will sense His hand so clearly on your life that you'll wonder how you ever doubted. You'll be flooded with a peace that passes understanding, and you'll realize that what the enemy used to try and break you, God used to build you. What was meant to destroy you made you stronger. What was meant to silence you gave you a voice. And you won't walk into the blessing alone. No, you'll carry others with you. You'll speak hope into hearts that are hurting. You'll lift the heads of those bowed down. You'll walk through rooms not just as one who was healed, but as one who carries healing. That's the legacy of the blessed, not just to rise, but to reach, not just to be restored, but to restore others. That's why the pain had to run so deep, because the calling on your life is just that high. This isn't just about what God is giving to you. It's about what He's doing through you. Your life is becoming a vessel of His glory. And sometimes God lets us break so that His light can shine through the cracks. Sometimes He lets us lose so we'll know He is the source. Sometimes He allows the crushing so that His presence can be poured out in ways we never imagined. And when people ask you how you made it, you'll say, "It was the grace of God." You won't boast in your own strength because you'll remember the nights you almost gave up. You'll remember the days when all you had was a mustard seed of faith. And you'll say with confidence, "If it had not been for the Lord on my side, I would not be here." That's the song of the redeemed. That's the anthem of the broken who have been made whole. So don't despise this season. Don't curse the process. God is doing more than you can see. The pain you're feeling now is nothing compared to the joy that's coming. The suffering is momentary, but the glory will be eternal. He's turning your mourning into dancing. He's trading your ashes for beauty. He's clothing you with joy, and what He has prepared for you will be far greater than what you've lost. Just hold on. One more prayer, one more day, one more act of faith. Because the blessing is near, the promise is close, and soon you'll see that every tear, every trial, every test, it was all worth it. You're not just approaching the end of your trial. You're approaching the unveiling of God's plan. And when that moment comes, it will be sudden. What once took years to build will rise in days. What once seemed impossible will be laid at your feet. You won't need to force it, fight for it, or chase it, because when it's God's time, favor flows like a river. You'll find yourself in places you didn't qualify for, speaking in rooms you never imagined, influencing lives you never thought you'd touch. And it won't be because of who you are, but because of who He is. You'll walk with quiet confidence, not because life is easy, but because you've seen what God can do in the fire. You've walked through it, and you didn't burn. You've been tested, but not destroyed. You've been pressed, but not crushed. You've been struck down, but not abandoned. The blessing is not just what you receive, it's who you've become. So let the winds blow, let the seasons shift, let the world shake. You are standing on the edge of glory. What once felt like breaking is now the sound of something being born, and you will rise, not as the same person who entered the storm, but as one who has been marked by the hand of God. This is not the end of your story. This is the turning point. The blessing is on its way. The pain is not the final word. His promise is, and he who began a good work in you will bring it to completion. Just wait and see. So now, as you stand at the threshold of what's next, don't let the weight of yesterday rob you of the promise of tomorrow. The pain had a purpose. The struggle was not in vain. God has seen every moment, counted every tear, and heard every whispered prayer. And now, in his perfect timing, he is turning it all for your good. What felt like the end was only the beginning of a greater glory. So lift your eyes, strengthen your heart, and walk forward in faith. Because the same God who brought you through the valley is the one who will lead you into the blessing. And when it comes, it will be more than you hoped, more than you imagined, more than you prayed for. It will be the kind of blessing that only God could give